Alright, for the first part of this color worksheet, I'm going to go through and I'm going to answer the questions first, and then I'm going to demonstrate on how to do the different shading techniques. So we'll talk first about monochromatic shading. There's a couple different ways that you can shade using color pencils. One of them is called monochromatic shading. That's just using one color pencil. Monochromatic, if you recall, means one color plus the tints and shades of that color. So we're just going to use one color, and then we will change the pressure back and forth. So for the answer for that first part, it's one color. The values change by pencil pressure, and heavier pressure equals darker value, and then of course lighter pressure equals lighter value. Okay, so make sure that you have that in on your notes. And then it gives you a couple tips. Demonstrate this technique by starting light with the pressure on the left side and dark and heavy on the right as you go to the right. Now when you do this, use a dark color pencil. Okay, this is how I'm going to know you're listening to the video, because if you use yellow or white or pink, it is not a good color to use. So make sure it's a dark color. So blue, a dark green, purple, red, brown. Don't use black either. We want to see some color. Okay, so I'm going to use a blue. And we're going to start right here, and then you're going to go heavy here and lighter here. Now the best tip is to start out lighter than what you think, because you can't erase color pencils. So you can always go back in and make things darker, but you can't lighten them up. So I'll turn it on time speed here in a minute. So start off heavy here. Remember, we're not going to use blending stumps on here. I'm going to show you a couple different ways you can blend. But you need to make sure and try to keep it nice and smooth with your pencil, so take your time. Notice I'm kind of using the side of my color pencil. It's best to try to keep going in the same direction, but you don't want to go super fast that you see. I'll show you over here. We don't want to see lines like that. So try to keep it nice and smooth. Take your time and try to fill up this whole space. Now, at this part of the assignment, what I'd like for you to do is grab a white color pencil. Sometimes we can use white to shade or blend in some of our colors. So for half of this, okay, either do the top half or the bottom half, I want you to take a white color pencil and I want you to go over heavy, really heavy, and go over the top of your blue or whatever color you used. You're going to see that it kind of blends it in just a little bit, so it kind of works as a blending stump. It doesn't work really great, but you can see a little bit of a difference, at least on this video. So what I want you to do is on half of it, like I said, either the top half or the bottom half, I want you to take a white color pencil and heavily go over the top of it and smooth it out as best as you can. Alright, once you get done with the monochromatic shading, I want to talk to you first about how to do the analogous shading. This is the second way that you can shade using color pencils. We'll fill in the notes first, and then I'll show you an example. So the first thing is, how many minimum colors do you need for the analogous techniques? If you remember, analogous colors are colors that are side by side on the color wheel. But for this technique, we want at least 3, a minimum of 3. When you're doing analogous shading, it asks what color do you use first and what pressure do you use for this layer. Well, you're always going to start out with the lightest color, and we're going to use yellow today, and then you want to start out with a medium pressure. Do not go heavy. Okay, this is important. Might even put that on here. Do not go heavy, because if you go super heavy, it puts a waxy film on the color pencil, and then it makes it hard to blend, and we want to be able to blend it. then it says, what do you use for the next color? You're going to start out from the lightest, and then you get a little bit darker each time. So it goes light, medium, and then heavy pressure. And when you start layering it on, and I'll explain this in the video here in a minute, you're going to go one color all the same, and then the next color is going to go dark to light, but not super heavy here, kind of medium. Stretch this out and go medium to light this way. Excuse me. And then your third color will be the same thing, medium to light. All right. Then when we're done, our first color, which is going to be our yellow, is going to act as our blending stump color. And you'll see me do an example of it, and then it'll make a little bit of sense. I just want you to fill in the notes first. To get a really nice analogous shading, you need to do what? To get a really good analogous shading, you have to have layers of overlapping color. Okay, so it's going to take time. It takes layers to start out with. So this is what you're going to do for your analogous colors. Is you want to start out, you got to remember we got to use 3 colors. It says you must use at least 3 colors, and you must use yellow as one of your first colors. So this is the set you're going to use, one of these 2. So you can grab yellow, green, and blue, or yellow, orange, and red. I want you to use yellow as your lightest colors. Those are the only 3 you can use for this, or this set of 3. All right, so I'm going to use yellow, orange, and red. Since yellow is my lightest, we're going to start out with that. If you recall, go back to your notes. It says to start out with the lightest color and a medium pressure. Now, once that you have your yellow down at a medium pressure, nice and even, you're going to do the next darkest color, which is going to be orange in our set. So if you're doing yellow, green, and blue, you use green. And when you want to start with this, you want to go a little heavier on the left side and get lighter as you go to the right. Kind of like we did with the monochromatic, except for you're not going to go super, super heavy on the left. Okay, so kind of a medium, but nice and even over the top of your yellow. And what this is going to do is kind of bring out the 3 different colors and make it a little bit brighter. So we're going to go a little bit heavy on the left and then get lighter as we go to the right. I'm going to speed this up just a little bit so you don't have to watch me draw. Alright, once you get done with the orange, you'll start going in with the next darkest color, which mine will be red. If you're using the greens and blues, it'll be blue as your last one. You do the same thing as we did with the orange. You start a little bit heavier on the left side, and we're going to get lighter as we go across. So it should have 3 layers. Yellow underneath all the way across. Heavy, well, not super heavy, but medium to light with the orange, and then medium to light with the red over the top of it. Now we're probably not going to go as far with the red, but the key here is to make sure everything is still nice and even, and try to get it as even as possible when you're going over with the colored pencil. Now when you're done with that, you're going to go back and you're going to take the yellow, and this yellow is going to be our blending stump. So we're going to go over and we're going to go super heavy with this, okay, really, really heavy. And you'll see that it kind of blends in those lines just a little bit, and it's going to bring out the richness of this color. That's the whole point of doing analogous color shading, is make it a little bit brighter and let the richness of the color come out. So really super heavy over the whole thing. You're going to take the yellow color pencil and go over the top of all of it as smooth as you can, but heavy. Now, once you've got the heavy layer of the yellow on, you may have to go back in with your medium and darker colors and even your yellow and kind of touch up some areas, so you really need to look at it. So I'm going to go back in the middle and kind of touch up and make this middle area a little bit more even, and then go back in with my red and darken up the left side and maybe go a little bit heavier. And then you may want to take even the yellow back over the top of all of it to even things out. So it's a lot of layering. Remember, analogous colors is a lot of layering, but it also makes it a little bit more interesting to look at by making it a lot more vibrant. Once you have completed the analogous shading, you need to fill in the rest of the notes, which these are just tips. These are going to help you when you do your color pencil. First of all, remember, always start out light. Okay, color pencil is not easy to erase. As a matter of fact, you can't hardly erase it at all, so start out light. Blending stumps don't usually work with color pencils, so we want to sometimes use white or a light colored pencil as our blending stumps. Colored pencils need to stay sharp. To do this, use a handheld pencil sharpener. They tend to break off in the pencil sharpeners by the door, so use the handhelds. Try to keep your pencil strokes smooth and even and consistent with the direction and the pressure. So remember, you don't want to have a lot of white space in between them and scribbles. So try to keep it even. And then the last one, start off with the lightest value first. Remember, when you're doing analogous shading, you always want to start out lighter and a lighter pressure, then adding layers of color, and then gradually increase your color.